when news broke that Nicolás Maduro had been captured during a coordinated US-led operation. The images that dominated global headlines were familiar ones. Helicopters cutting through the night, special forces moving with precision, armored vehicles on darkened streets, a sudden, decisive raid that ended years of speculation. But behind the visible spectacle of modern warfare lies something far more subtle and far more powerful. The invisible domain. Cyber operations, signals intelligence, information dominance. Because long before the first boots hit the ground, a different kind of battle was already underway. A battle over data, perception, and control. And almost immediately after the operation, claims began to circulate. Claims that parts of Venezuela went dark, that communications were disrupted, that lights shut off at precisely the wrong moment. Supporters of Maduro alleged that cyber attacks were used to soften the battlefield, plunging parts of the country into confusion just as the raid began. Were cyber weapons used during the capture of Nicolás Maduro? And if so, what role did they actually play? To answer that question, we need to understand how modern military operations are really conducted. Today, no major raid begins with soldiers. It begins with intelligence. For years, US intelligence agencies had been quietly building an extraordinarily detailed picture of Venezuela's internal power structure. Human intelligence networks cultivated through diplomats, defectors, and informants. Signals intelligence drawn from intercepted phone calls, radios, and digital traffic. Satellite surveillance mapping movement patterns from above. Financial intelligence tracking money flows and loyalty networks. Maduro's movements were not random. They were habits, and habits become patterns. Patterns are something modern intelligence systems are exceptionally good at detecting. By the time the operation was launched, analysts likely knew where Maduro slept, who guarded him, which routes he used, which buildings were hardened, and which systems controlled access, power, and communications around him. But intelligence alone does not win operations. You also need information dominance. The ability to see faster, decide faster, and act faster than your adversary. This is where cyber and electronic operations become central. Modern cyber warfare is not just about hacking websites or stealing classified documents. It is about shaping the environment in which decisions are made. Disrupting communications at critical moments. Creating uncertainty in command structures. Blinding sensors and surveillance systems, delaying responses by seconds that feel like minutes. And crucially, doing all of this in ways that are deniable, reversible, and difficult to attribute. Almost immediately after the raid, reports emerged from Venezuela describing electrical disruptions in some areas. Lights flickered, internet speeds dropped, mobile communications were inconsistent. Maduro loyalists were quick to claim this was proof of a coordinated cyber attack by the United States. A digital blackout designed to paralyze the country during the raid. But here is the critical distinction. As of now, there is no independently verified evidence from neutral observers, international monitors, or technical investigations confirming that the United States carried out a cyber attack against Venezuela's power grid during the operation. That distinction matters, because Venezuela's electrical infrastructure has been fragile for years. The country has experienced repeated nationwide blackouts caused by aging equipment, lack of maintenance, grid instability, and cascading failures. Power disruptions, by themselves, do not automatically indicate cyber warfare. A coincidence does not equal proof. But coincidence also does not rule anything out. Cyber operations are designed to hide in plain sight. Unlike bombs or missiles, they leave no crater. Attribution is one of the hardest problems in cybersecurity. and the most sophisticated cyber tools are intentionally built to mimic normal system failures. So how could cyber capabilities have played a role, even if they were never officially acknowledged? The answer lies in understanding how cyber and electronic warfare are actually used in modern raids. Rather than shutting down entire cities, military planners prefer localized disruption, targeted interference with cellular networks, temporary degradation of radio communications, short-term disruption of security coordination systems. This kind of interference creates confusion without spectacle. Security forces struggle to communicate. Orders are delayed. Response times increase. No dramatic blackout is required. Just hesitation. Another likely role is cyber-enabled surveillance. Modern operations increasingly rely on accessing digital infrastructure rather than destroying it. Security camera feeds, access control systems, mobile phone metadata, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth signal mapping. These tools allow forces to see movement patterns in real time, even indoors. They reveal who is present, who is leaving, and who is responding. Cyber capabilities don't replace soldiers. They multiply their effectiveness. Then there is electronic warfare, which exists in the space between cyber operations and traditional combat. Electronic warfare can jam GPS signals, disrupt radios, interfere with drones, create dead zones where sensors simply stop working. This kind of interference is extremely difficult for civilians to identify. To those experiencing it, it feels like routine technical failure. A radio that suddenly goes silent, a drone that loses position, a security system that briefly stops responding. These moments are fleeting, but in a raid, seconds matter. Now, what about the claims that lights went out? Here, most analysts urge caution. Large-scale power grid attacks are risky. They affect civilians. They escalate conflicts. They draw international attention. They leave digital evidence that can later be analyzed. If the objective is to capture a single individual quickly and decisively, plunging a city into darkness works against that goal. It creates chaos, it increases unpredictability, and it signals escalation. Most experts believe that if cyber capabilities were used, they were surgical, not dramatic, short-lived, localized, purpose-built to support the raid, not announce it. This aligns closely with modern military doctrine. Speed over spectacle, precision over destruction, control over chaos. Another critical layer of the operation was information warfare. In the hours surrounding the raid, competing narratives flooded the information space. Some claimed a foreign invasion, others framed the event as a lawful arrest. Some denied it happened at all. Information warfare is about controlling uncertainty while events are still unfolding. Confusion slows response. Contradictory narratives fracture loyalty. Delayed clarity benefits the side that already controls the situation. Cyber and intelligence tools play a key role here, monitoring social media in real time, tracking who is communicating with whom, identifying potential mobilization or resistance efforts. This is the unseen layer of modern conflict, not tanks versus tanks, but narratives versus narratives. It is also important to remember that cyber pressure against Venezuela did not begin with this raid. For years, the United States and its allies applied pressure through sanctions, intelligence collection, financial tracking, and digital surveillance. The objective was never just physical removal. It was isolation, cutting off funding networks, monitoring elite loyalty, mapping corruption and patronage systems. In that sense, the capture of Maduro was not a standalone moment. It was the visible endpoint of a long, multi-domain campaign, and cyber capabilities are uniquely suited to that kind of prolonged pressure. They operate quietly, persistently, often invisibly. So did cyber attacks shut off Venezuela's lights during the capture of Nicolás Maduro? There is no confirmed proof. But did cyber and intelligence operations play a meaningful role in enabling the operation? Almost certainly. Because in modern warfare, cyber operations are no longer optional. They are foundational. They shape the battlefield before the first shot is fired. They compress timelines. They tilt probabilities. The most powerful cyber operations do not announce themselves. They create hesitation. They delay decisions. They cause small failures that cascade into decisive advantages. And by the time the world sees the outcome, a captured leader, a completed mission, the cyber battle is already over. Invisible, unattributed, and largely undocumented. That may be the most unsettling lesson of all. Not whether the lights went out, but how much happened in the dark, without anyone ever knowing. This is the cyber and intelligence dimension of the Maduro capture. A reminder that in modern conflict, the most important battles are not always the loudest, and the most powerful weapons do not always explode. Sometimes they simply change the outcome.